Zoe Briggs, and this is Buckingham News. Residents of the town have been driven round the bend over serious concerns for the safety of the London Road Roundabout. A recent petition has successfully got the attention of Bucks County Council and action is to be taken. Elliot Beverley has more.
Ever since its completion earlier this year, the London Road Roundabout has caused nothing but trouble for Buckingham residents.
The consortium responsible for the roundabout was given until the end of July to reply to the council's request to redesign the lane markings. Who is now taking responsibility for reworking the roundabout so that it can safely function?
I don't know precisely. I do know that developers who were given the task of building the roundabout, according to a Section 278 agreement with the County Council, I know that they've been put into a corner to say either you rebuild it or that the County Council will call in what's called the bond, which means that will then be a bad mark upon the developers themselves, and also they will lose money directly.
What is the general consensus among residents regarding the safety of the roundabout?
The general consensus is that it's unsafe and it needs to be changed now. And that's been the consensus for the last few months, and we're still waiting for the powers that be, whoever they finally are, to actually make the changes that are required. Our overarching concern is always the well-being of people who live in Buckingham and indeed pay their council tax. That's our main object. That's what we're here to do, to create a town that is prosperous, that is healthy, that is well, that is safe. And we will continue to beaver and badger on at the County Council and Transport for Bucks to get this sorted.
Local residents have been very vocal when it comes to their views concerning the roundabout.
It's like it's been painted on by children, it's ridiculous. I've had about 2 or 3 near misses on it.
The lanes are totally inappropriately marked out. So when you turn right, you don't know what lane you're in.
It's obviously nicely done and resurfaced, but I think I've noticed a lot of road users are quite confused when they're using that area of town.
If you follow the lanes, you'd end up crashing, I think.
It looks like this issue is far from resolved, but it's clear that road safety remains a top priority for Buckinghamshire County Council. This is Elliot Beverley, Buckingham News.
Social media brings people together and allows your voice to be heard. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat all have the potential to add to human happiness, but they can be misused as a platform for bullying and intimidation. Noor Barman has a story.
When joining university, students agree to follow the student charter, and the university's regulations detail the requirements each student should follow. As social media continues to grow and new apps see the light of day, some users take advantage of the wide audience they reach out to intimidate or offend from behind their screens. Yik Yak, a platform where users can post anonymous messages to others nearby, has been used to target students, staff, and the university. Certain of these messages have contained serious allegations.
If a student is defaming the university, then the university may well choose to sue.
How does intimidation on social media affect someone?
There is a lasting record, and the derogatory comments may be retweeted, and if you retweet something, it's as if you're endorsing it.
Despite the comments circulating about the university and some of its students, the welfare department said they hadn't heard about these incidents and refused to comment on what measures they would take to help a student targeted by this victimization. Many users of social media make the mistake of thinking that the online world is separate from everyday reality. Nothing could be further from the truth. Behavior likely to threaten, harm, or smear a person online is subject to the same rules, laws, and penalties as if you did them in person or through other media. So think before you tweet. This is Noor Bahman for Buckingham News.
The National Fraud Intelligence Bureau have warned of a scam that is specifically targeting Asian students. The victims are being cold called by people claiming to be from the Home Office. Q Shu has the report.
Victims were warned that an immigration complaint had been made against them and that they would be required to pay money to settle their case. A spokesperson from the National Fraud Intelligence Bureau stated the UK Visa and Immigration Department would not make any request for payments in this form. This news comes after students were warned recently about seasonal rental fraud, in which students looking for rentals in August were asked to pay upfront fees in order to secure the property, only to discover that the fraudster does not have ownership of the property or that the property is already occupied. Yvonne Waddington Accommodation Office commented, students need to make sure they get a tenancy agreement and read it very properly to make sure that there is nothing there that is worrying. Also, people need to make sure they go to reputable agencies. Any students with landlord problems can come to us. If you think you may be the victim of fraud, you should contact the National Fraud Intelligence Bureau via the website. This is Kershi for Buckingham News.
In other news, student union elections have been called for the 26th of August. Last semester, the student union executive announced that they would serve an unprecedented third term without an election. Hustings will take place on the 21st of August and a presidential debate on the 24th. Potential candidates must submit their names to Professor Bob Watt by the 5th of August. As of the 30th of June, the Buckingham Public Library has changed its opening times. The library will be closed on Sundays, Mondays and public holidays, but will be open on Tuesday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, it will be open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m, with Saturdays being open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Students of Buckingham were left high and dry last week after the water supply to Hailsham House was shut off. The hot water stopped running on Saturday, and soon after, cold water valves broke, cutting off all of the water. It wasn't until Tuesday that maintenance solved the problems and Hailsham residents could have a much-needed wash. Along with sweeping cuts to welfare and child benefit and the creation of a new living wage, the 2015 budget also saw the conversion of the maintenance grant into a loan. But does this change unfairly affect already impoverished and disadvantaged students? Chadni Manwani has the story.
Current maintenance grants cost the taxpayer over £1.5 billion and are claimed by 500,000 students.
The maintenance loan, which comes into effect in 2016, will be repayable under similar terms to current student loans. Graduates will only have to pay back their loans once they earn over £21,000. Chancellor George Osborne defended the change, saying that there was a basic unfairness in asking taxpayers to fund grants for people who are likely to earn a lot more than them.
Basically all they're saying is they're still entitled to the same amount, but rather than some of it being a grant which they won't have to pay back at the end of their studies, they're now going to make it all a loan rather than a loan and a grant. I think for students here, it most probably wouldn't make too much difference or deter them from joining the university.
The political left have been condemning the change and fear that poor students will be unfairly targeted by this move. They fear that it could deter disadvantaged students from attending university.
However, obviously, the taxpayer may be slightly better off if they're being charged more for loans that they don't have to pay back.
Because obviously they're spending over £1 billion every year on grants, which I mean is great for some students who need it, but other students go to university and don't necessarily make use of their degrees.
I couldn't really comment, I don't know that much about it, but I think it might be more detrimental to people who are perhaps from a lower income family. Perhaps it might be more of a struggle for them through university.
I don't see it as much of an issue, considering that you are getting more for your money, you just have to pay it back.
It seems the students in Buckingham won't be too affected by this change. This is Chandi Manwani reporting for Buckingham News.
The police force has come under fire for recent comments made by the head of the new National Police Chiefs Council. In an interview with the BBC, former Thames Valley Police Chief Sarah Thornton said that police may not attend burglaries amid a re-examination of police priorities in the wake of continuing budget cuts. Federica Battiato went to see what effects these changes will have on the public and investigate whether the police can say they are truly protecting the people.
For victims, burglary and theft from homes and vehicles can be harrowing, with an irreconcilable feeling that privacy has been invaded. Imagine then that in the aftermath, the helping hand of a police officer was nowhere to be found. That could be a new reality after Sarah Thornton's statement last week that police may not attend small-scale crimes such as burglary.
The moves comes as police forces up and down the country are facing cuts to funding.
Sarah Thornton, head of the new National Police Chiefs Council, said, We need to move from reacting to some of those traditional crimes to think about focusing on threat and harm and risk to the public. Buckingham News contacted Thames Valley Police for a statement, but they declined to comment. In the year from June 2014 to May 2015, there were 86 burglaries and 162 counts of theft in Buckingham. Are members of the public worried about the potential effects to policing?
I think it's a shame because I think it's reassuring for the police to attend even small matters.
Well, I think it's going to happen. There's no money in the country, and the amount of benefits that keep getting paid out, which is the death of the country.
Well, basically a vigilante squad will appear and people will start taking the law into their own hands, and they will.
Although Britain's crisis of the police funding is set to become more severe and the mood on the street is glum, an examination of the police priorities looks like it is coming at the cost of the public trust. This is Federica Battiato for Buckingham News.
Motivational speaker Andrew Bernard visited Buckingham last Wednesday to give one heck of a speech. An accidental entrepreneur who realises and hones in on his knack for understanding use spoke up close and personal to our business students. We sent Satonya Nwankwo to get down to business.
It's never too late to start anew. Motivational speaker Andrew Bernard gave a lecture at the ADR about the perils of being an accidental entrepreneur.
Maybe fitting in isn't for you. So peril sounds like a negative thing. But what I wanted to do was just give you some of the keywords that I've used in being an entrepreneur and how they've helped me. People don't know what they want from one day to the next. That's why you have to innovate, that's why you have to learn, you have to take responsibility. Have to be an enterprising person to push yourself out there in the first place. And you have to have the passion to keep going when things change.
He revealed his turbulent past, how he overcame his struggle with testicular cancer and jumped from job to job for 17 years.
The main challenges, I suppose, first of all, was my attitude. I really didn't see past the next week. I wasn't really thinking bigger picture. Blaming everybody else for my life not being the way it should be. I also had testicular cancer as a 22-year-old, which I guess would take the wind out of your sails. At the time, I kind of got through it, but I think it probably affected my family members more than it affected me. I got my college course and then drifted into a job, which wasn't really what I needed to do. I wasn't concentrating on thinking about who I was and the kind of skills that I had.
So what can we learn from Andrew Bernard? That life isn't easy, but what we make of it. Satonya Nwankwo for Buckingham News.
And now, over to sports with Philip Joss.
Thank you, Zoe. Last Sunday, the University of Buckingham took part in the 2015 Varsity tournament against the University of Cranfield from Bedford. The team set off bright and early, looking forward to a promising day of action, and we sent Tyler Cock along to watch.
Tensions were high between the opposing university teams as for the past 2 years, Buckingham has lost each time. Buckingham's athletes were energized and optimistic, nonetheless with high hopes of being victors of the day. As the saying goes, third time lucky.
Okay, the Varsity tournament was started 3 years ago. It was actually Buckingham University's idea. We are the only two universities in the country that are really here for the entire year. So most other universities in this country do normal term times. So when it comes to the summer sports, we don't actually have anybody to play against.
Buckingham was declared winners after Cranfield table tennis players failed to show up. Buckingham were crushed 6-0 by an unforgiving Cranfield badminton team. Cranfield went ahead in the Varsity tournament after beating Buckingham tennis team 4 sets to 1. The home side extended its lead in the Varsity tournament after beating Buckingham's cricket team by 5 wickets. Cranfield were clearly firing on all cylinders as they beat Buckingham basketball team 57-27. Things went from bad to worse after Buckingham football team were trounced 8-4 by a dominant Cranfield side. Buckingham managed to salvage some consolation result as the rugby team convincingly beat Cranfield rugby team.
Unfortunately for the University of Buckingham team, third time was certainly not a charm after a disappointing loss against Cranfield University. Will it be a fourth time lucky next year? This is Tyler Cock, Buckingham News.
The university's recently founded Lacrosse club opened summer with aplomb last week. The club held a taster session on Wednesday so that everyone could get to grips with this highly competitive contact sport. Elisa Lee has the story.
Frenny Park became a battleground last week
as lacrosse players of all skill levels gathered to build interest in the sport, drawing in players from Milton Keynes Lacrosse Club and even the Buckingham Young Farmers. The event spanned the whole afternoon and for some served as their first introduction to the game.
Rosanna Single, myself, Dan Morris, and a few other students found a lacrosse league in Milton Keynes that was starting up. So we just said, hey, we want to pick up, we want to do something on the weekends and, pick up some sticks and throw. And it's been great so far. Every day we're getting more and more players.
Lacrosse has its roots in the cultural traditions of Native Americans, where it was played between thousands as a symbolic ritual of warfare. The sport flourished during the 19th and 20th centuries, including being contested at the Olympics in 1904 and 1908. While the bulk of the modern game is still a profoundly North American sport, lacrosse has become a mainstay at many British universities.
Additionally, we're also getting connected with Oxford City Lacrosse League. Now we're even branching out even more.
The free event included equipment and instruction from a professional coach as the team looks to recruit new players, and enthusiasm was high, with the event already sowing the seeds of a bright future for the team.
Today's training session was a great success. The weather was good, the team was motivated, and the spirit of lacrosse was felt far and wide. This is Elisa Lee reporting for Buckingham News.
Basketball is a hugely popular sport, with names like the New York Knicks and the LA Lakers recognizable to everyone. Well, now's your chance to shoot some hoops and give basketball a go as Buckingham becomes a new home for the sport. Jason Dunn has the story.
If you dream of being a huge star like Michael Jordan, or just want to play to keep fit and learn something new, the free taster sessions being offered by Buckingham Town Council aren't something to miss.
The 3 hour-long classes are being held at Borton Park over the summer. They're designed to teach basic skills like dribbling, shooting, and hopefully organising some practice matches. What motivated you to start the sessions?
This whole programme is about getting as many youngsters playing at no cost, because it's all funded by ours with our district council, and get them engaged in the sport. And we'd like more kids to come down here, and any of the youngsters from Buckingham University that are keen on basketball come down here. It's inclusive, so anyone can come down here and play. I match the players up with people of the same strength.
Will these sessions start up again?
The goal for Aylesbury Vale and Buckingham Council is that some of those youngsters that play will want to take the sport up on a more regular basis. We've got a club in Milton Keynes, we've got a club in Shenley, we've got clubs down in Aylesbury that they can join. So there is a kind of continuity about the programme.
The sessions start at 6:45 p.m. for an hour, and students are encouraged to go along and give it their best shot. There is no need for signing up.
So if basketball is your favourite sport and you like the way it dribbles up and down the court, get down to Borton Park and give these taster sessions a go. This is Jason Dunn from Buckingham News.
And now, back to the studio.
In 2011, the UN proclaimed the International Day of Friendship with the idea that friendship between peoples, countries and cultures can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. But what do the people of Buckingham think of this day? We sent our friend Charlie Parry down to investigate.
Human beings are social creatures and have always valued the importance of friends in their lives. To celebrate this noble feeling, it was deemed fit to have a day dedicated to friends and friendship, with Winnie the Pooh as its ambassador.
But with new social media popping up left, right and centre, the word friend is tossed around all too easily. According to Dunbar's number, we can only have 150 real friends, but Facebook will have you believe you have over 400.
People will be critical of things like social media because they don't understand them either. I think there's a lot of value in it. People, for example, will meet others from completely different cultures and countries with similar interests.
So what makes a friend a friend?
It's just someone you can always call on, always be there for you.
Trust, yeah, like loyalty.
Non-judgmental, yeah. Able to keep a secret.
So will I be there for you when the rain starts to pour? I'll be there for you, like I've been there before. This is Charlie Parry for Buckingham News.
Summer is here, and so it is time to celebrate with a perfect summer fruit. Last Monday was Watermelon Day, so we sent Lisa Collins to show us her melons. What do you think this is? A carry-on film?
To create today's recipe, you'll need 340 grams of watermelon, 240 milliliters of tequila, some lime juice, 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and lots of ice. First, you'll need to cut the watermelon into cubes. Your next step will be to add your watermelon to the blender. Then you want to swash in your tequila. You want to add the smallest spritz of lime juice. You want to have 2 tablespoons of your sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and 8 cubes of ice. Now, you're going to reward yourself with a shot. So now we're going to put the lid back on the blender. Make sure the lid is properly on and mix. So celebrate summer while you still can, in style with these delicious watermelon recipes. This is Lisa Collins, getting drunk for Buckingham News.
Thank you for watching Buckingham News. We'll see you next week.